last December, I told Jason Morehouse in House of Keys about the consultation and reminded everybody what the policy was in Tynwald to do with over 75s and where we were with the licence. So we weren't surprised with the announcement in terms of the longer time scale, but obviously the timing of when the announcement was made was an unknown, and we only had a notification on the day. So where we are now is since Christmas, the Chief Minister has asked me to work with civil servants, which I've been doing, to prepare the grounds for our dialogue with the Department of Culture, Media and Sport in the UK and the BBC directly. Civil servants have had other things on their mind, like beneficial ownership, money laundering, the whole issues with Brexit, but we've been making some progress.
But you haven't actually met with the BBC or representatives
and
yet.
The way these things work is that officials prepare the ground, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if in coming months we put that to the test. The over 75s licence is one dimension to it. Another one that listeners will have learned about more recently is that there's a Communications Act in the Isle of Man as well as in the UK, and where the licence fee fits in terms of those two acts is another part of the dimension. I will be making a statement in October, Tynwald, alongside the Manx radio debate, because obviously we've got a local public service broadcaster. We've got the communications bill that's now been pretty much all the way through the post. There's a couple of loose ends to tie up.
Yeah, that's been delayed, hasn't it? Because we've been expecting it for several weeks now, and it still hasn't come before Tynwald.
It's got to come back to the House of Keys first, because there are a couple of
amendments from the MLCs.
From the rest of the council. So I think October's the crucial time for all of these things, and the communications bill, as I clearly laid down in my media, public service broadcasting, public service media debate back in December at the end of last year, the communications bill is at the heart of all of this, alongside the Communications Act in the Isle of Man, and I really hope that we can make sure that the BBC and the British authorities, principally through the Department of Culture, Media Studies, understand the challenges we have on the Isle of Man of justifying the unjustifiable current situation with the licence fee.
You said it was going to be jawing. Jaw, not war.
Exactly. So the officials have been preparing the ground, and then we'll have that meeting.
But it's taking ages, though.
I think October's a reasonable timescale for a good statement about where we are.
Does that tie in with the communications? Are you saying that they've got to be together now?
I think we'll have to amend the Communications Act if we're successful in our position, but it was good to have our new Communications Act in place, and then there's just 12 or so sections in the middle of it that would need to be amended if we wanted to change the way that the licensing fee was divided up.
What sort of bargaining power have you got here with the BBC?
What's right? That's always very powerful in negotiations.
But they themselves, of course, they've got budgets that are stretched, as we know, hence why they brought in that the over 75s will now pay.
Of course they have, and
credit.
The whole of public service broadcasting is under pressure from funding. It's also under pressure from technology. It's also under pressure from the expectations about what people expect from their public service broadcaster. So all those issues need to be sorted out. We've got British public service broadcasting, we've clearly got Isle of Man public service broadcasting, and we are in a powerful position because the clear will of most of my political colleagues in Tynwald is that that we are wronged and we need to address that wrong, and I hope to be making a statement in October.
But hoping at the end of these negotiations to be on a similar platform to Guernsey and Jersey. In terms of provision?
Well, that's an important point. We are different in Jersey, Guernsey and the Isle of Man compared to the nations of the United Kingdom, firstly. And secondly, the Isle of Man is different from Jersey and Guernsey because the Jersey and Guernsey have a BBC. They're integrated into the BBC regional network, and that's not we haven't got that history. Manx Radio was set up before local radio.
But that's the big gripe, isn't it, with the public, that we pay for both?
And all of those things are in a coherent negotiating position that we've worked out with officers, and I hope to be able to report back to you and to everybody else in October in line with the Manx radio public service media broadcast that's coming up. I hope you're making good progress on your strategy.